Let's get. Okay. So what are whoops? Initial class, I just explained whoops means whoops principles. I just explained very simple, and we just spent 2-3 minutes only on that, not more than that. But now we need to learn in detail what is whoops. So whoops are basically object-oriented programming concepts. Object-oriented programming concepts. So the fundamentals of OOPS is it's a kind of approach. OOPS is an approach, a technique, how you will manage the objects. What is mean by object? So in the software world, everything will be treated as an object. Everything will be treated as an object. So each object has its own state and behavior. Sir, what is it? Without telling object meaning, you're telling object has a state, object has a behavior. Okay, let's dig into that. What is object also? So objects basically carries the data, and also the behaviors means what it has to do, and that is a behavior, and state means how it looks like. But object is a derived from the class only. Then what is a class? What is a class? What is a class?
Blueprint or template
Blueprint.
from which objects are created.
Yeah. So class means a template or a design or blueprint from which objects are created. Class is a logical entity, just a template. Like, you want to construct an house. You will have a design, right? A design diagram. From that, they will construct the house. Suppose you have some, a mobile class. In the mobile class, you have some members. So those members base, they will create the real mobile, like laptop, bench, table, whatnot, anything, car. Everything that you see in the real world physical entity is an object. So object is, it's an entity which has state and behavior. A class is a blueprint or a template which is used to create an object. If class is not there, no object exists. So if you want to create object, you should have a class. Class is a logical entity. Object is a physical entity. So another definition for object is an instance of a class is called object. How many instances you can create for a class? N number of instances you can create. But class is only one. Only one class. But you have n number of instances you can create. That each instance is called an object. That is the class and object. So an object is an instance of a class. It represents the real world entity that has its own state. State means a characteristics of an object. Okay, how much weight is there? What is the color? What is the name? All these are properties of any object. That is called state, or attributes will be there for any object. A behavior is what it is going to do. what the object does. And the behaviors you can write with the methods. State you can declare with the variables. State you can declare with the variables. Behaviors you can write a logic with the methods. That's every object has a state, and behavior means state can be declared with the variables. Behavior can be written with the methods. Suppose you have a car class example. You can create individual object like my car, your car, each having its own unique attribute values. So like dog, cat, vehicle, these are all objects. So dog has a states like age, color, name. That's a states. Behaviors like eating, sleeping, barking, running, playing. These are all the behaviors of a dog. So state tells us how the object looks, what properties it has. Behavior tells us what the object does. So if you want to represent the real world dog in a software program, you have to create a first dog class. Then, so for that dog, what are the states? States you declare with a variable concept. Write the methods. Behavior you write methods. So that is the state and behaviors, how we will declare in the class. So software objects are the actual representation of the real world objects. So for each object, a memory allocated in the heap area. Whenever you create a object in the heap, the memory will allocate. Each object has its own memory address. Each object is its own memory address it will create, not same memory. For all the objects, memory is not same. Dog D1 equal to new dog. So this new dog is an object which has one memory address in the heap area. And dog D2 equal to new dog. Another memory will create. This memory and D1 memory and D2 memories both are different in the heap area. So how many objects you create? How can you create object for a class? How
With
can
a
you create
new keyword.
using new keyword? Using new keyword, you will create object. Whenever you use a new, that means a new object you are creating. That's a simple term you can remember. If you're using a new means, oh, this is the new object. Wherever you see new class name parenthesis, that's an object. So blindly you can immediately can tell, oh, a new class name parenthesis is there, that's an object. So that's the object means. So important thing you need to remember is when creating an object is means, so the reference type should be same class type or super class type. Object reference type will be there, right? That reference type can be same class type or super class type. So that will explain, we'll see that super class reference in the OOPS concepts when we proceed with the OOPS principles, and you will understand that. Okay. So what are classes? I already mentioned class is a template or blueprint. So that defines the properties, behaviors of an object. So it serves as a blueprint for creating the individual objects. Suppose you have a car class, I told you, and here if you see, this cookie cutter is a class. From this cookie cutter, See how many objects you are generating. These are all real world cookies. So the model will be one will be there. That is a class. But objects you can generate multiple objects with the same class. So that is the class and object means. So it's a real world and it is showing you very clearly here. So class defines the states as an instance variable, behaviors as an instance methods. So instance variables also known as a member variables. So when you create a class, it doesn't consume any memory. When you create a class, it won't occupy memory. But when you create an object, it will create a memory in the heap area. So how can you declare a class? Using class keyword. How can you declare a class? Using class keyword. So that's a class and object. So see now here, for example, you want to represent two cats. See, one cat is this name is Thor, which is sleeping. And another cat is which is playing, Rambo, which is playing. How can you represent with one class two different real world entities? So let's see that program quickly. So I want to switch from this to IntelliJ. Okay, I'll switch to IntelliJ so that we'll get a better idea. So even IntelliJ also. Okay. So let's know, or otherwise for this next class, I will explain the IntelliJ. Let me write a simple program here quickly. Next class, I will introduce the IntelliJ IDE. cat.java. Sorry. So I'm creating a template cat class. How I created a class? Public using class keyword and class name. See, first two letter should be cap letter. Okay. So a cat is going to have a lot of properties, right? So let's declare properties. String name. So int is string breed. And string. So breed name is color. Okay, so these are the properties. So these are the instance variables. So you know where instance variables are declared. So I'll declare instance methods. So public void play. Simply, I'll write a simple statement. Cat is playing. I'm just dummy methods I'm creating. Protected, void, it, eating. It is eating. So void, sleep. Or sleeping. I'll just give sleeping. Cat is sleeping. Right? So this is what I'm just mentioned. I'll put so equal. Okay. All the method names I'm giving. One word, all lowercase. So that's all the methods. Now, how can I represent these two cats? Rambo and Thor. So first I'll represent the Thor. Okay. Cat Thor object will be say equal to new cat. So this is the one object I created. Now I can represent Thar obj dot name. So the name is Thar. I given a name. So this will go and store, because first initially I didn't give values here. I didn't give values. If you want to make it dynamic, you should not give values. So while creating object, you can assign the value. See, now I am assigning a value for this name. So in this object, so this value will go and store there in this memory object. So Thor object dot is, so I can give 3. So Thor object dot breed, so equal to mannequin. So Thor object dot color, I can give, so white. See, this is all these values will go store in the heap memory, because you are assigning values in this object, it will store. So now if you want to print, you can print. You can call the methods also. For example, I'm calling a method dot. So we decided that was sleeping, right? So sleeping. So whichever method you want, you can call with this object reference dot instance variable, object reference dot instance method. So that will represent the Thor object. For example, you want to represent so Rambo, right? Same, you just do the, I can call, so I'll just put Rambo. Rambo object. Just I'm creating a Rambo object. I can change the value. So, but object reference I'm changing. But these values also you need to change. Rambo. And I'll change this value, different value. And so this is playing, right? I can call playing. See that each object you can call differently. So Rambo is playing. So that's how you can differentiate. So now 2 objects I created. This memory is different. This memory is different. So in this memory, all this data will go and store. So in this memory, this data will go and store. Uniquely, you can specify with instance variables and instance variables. So single class, but you are representing with the multiple objects. Multiple sets of data you are giving with a single class by creating object. How you can achieve that? By creating object only. So that is, if you want to know this memory address, right? The memory address of Thor object, okay? Memory address of Thor obj is, so how can you get the memory address of object reference variable?
Object name dot hash code.
Hash code.
Object reference dot hash
Hash
code.
code.
Hash code method. Very good. So same you do for the, so this also. So I'll just give hash code method. In which class it is there?
Super
Class?
class.
Static.
Which class of the hash code is there? Object class. It's in the object class. Hash code method is in the object class. So now execute this. So you can see cat is playing. See, this memory address is different and this memory address is different. Both are different memory addresses. The partitions, like each object one partition in the heap memory. It's not same. Okay. So if you want to print all these values, print it. If you want, you can print. How can you print all the values? For example, you want to print all the values, Thor object values. Thor cat values. So if you want Thor cat values, you can print all of them. So I just give object reference dot instance variable. Thor cat age. So just put age. Instance variable. You are calling object reference dot instance variable. That's it. Same if you want to do for the Rambo also, you can do that. Just do the Rambo. Just replace with a Rambo. Yeah, you're good. So good to go. And just execute that. See the data. Okay. Rambo 4 Russian blue brown. So Thor 3 main mannequin and white. And this memory is different and this memory is. So this data will go into this memory and this data will go into this memory. Okay. So that's how objects and classes will be differentiated. Class is a logical entity, just a blueprint. Object is an instance of a class. Class is a logical entity, object is a physical entity. When you create a class, memory won't occupy. When you create object, memory will be occupied. So you will create object with a new keyword. You will declare a class with a class keyword. You can create only class once, but you can create